She came home to find her husband holding a syringe. Charlotte stopped right there at the door. The house was too quiet. No TV, no sounds from the rooms above. Nothing. Just silence. A silence that felt wrong, like something bad had already happened or was about to. She looked up. Her husband William was standing at the end of the hallway. He had a small glass syringe in his hand. His face showed nothing. His eyes were serious and focused. This was the same man who held her hand at her mother's funeral, the same man who cried when their daughter Lily was born, the same man who always made her feel safe. William, her voice came out low. What is that? He looked at her, then he looked at the syringe, and then he said four words she was not ready for. They want you dead. Charlotte did not move. She did not breathe. The room felt like it was closing in because in that one moment she understood something that changed everything. Someone wanted to kill her, and her husband already know who. Hi everyone. Before we go any further, if this story is already making you feel something, if it is pulling you in and you want to know what happened next, then please hit the subscribe button right now. I share brand new stories every single day. Real stories, emotional stories, stories that stay with you long after they are over. So please subscribe, hit the bell, and let's get back to Charlotte right now.
3 months before that night, Charlotte had done something very simple, something she did not think twice about. She filed a report at the hospital where she worked as an administrator. It was about a batch of medicines. The numbers did not match. The formula was different from what was registered. To Charlotte, it was just a routine thing. Her job. She reported it to the board and moved on. She had no idea that someone was watching. She had no idea that report would put her life in danger. The men behind those medicines were not small people. They were powerful. They had money. They had connections. And they had been running their operation through hospitals across the country for years without anyone noticing, until Charlotte noticed. They watched her for weeks after that report. They checked who she was, where she lived, who her family was, and then they made a decision. Charlotte was a risk, and risks had to be removed. They made the syringe, a special compound, untraceable. It would stop her heart and look completely natural. No one would ask questions. No one would ever know. And they gave it to someone they thought they could trust to deliver it. They gave it to William. What they did not know was that William loved his wife more than anything in this world. The moment he found out what was inside that syringe, the moment he found out it was meant for Charlotte, something inside him broke and then hardened into something strong. He was not going to let this happen. Not to her. Not ever. He drove around for 2 hours that night with the syringe in his pocket. His hands were shaking on the wheel. His mind was going in circles. He could not go to the police. Not yet. These people had eyes everywhere. One wrong move and Charlotte would be dead. Before morning, so he came home. He walked through the door with the syringe still in his hand, trying to think, trying to find a way out of this for both of them. And that is when Charlotte walked in. She saw the syringe. She saw his face. And before he could say a single word, the fear in her eyes hit him like a punch to the chest. He had to tell her everything. Right now, tonight. Sit down, Charlotte, he said quietly. I need to tell you something. And I need you to stay calm. Outside, the rain was falling hard. The street was dark. And somewhere out there, the men who wanted Charlotte dead were waiting to hear that the job was done. They were about to be very disappointed. Charlotte sat down slowly. Her hands were in her lap. Her eyes were on William. He pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. He put the syringe on the table between them. Just seeing it there made Charlotte's stomach turn. "Start from the beginning," she said. "All of it." William took a long breath. He had been carrying this secret for months, maybe longer. And now the weight of it was all over his face. 6 years ago, William's small transport business was failing. He was close to losing everything. A man came to him, smart, well-dressed, very calm. He said his name was Marcus. He offered William a contract. Simple delivery work across Europe. Sealed boxes, no questions. Very good money. William was desperate. He said yes. For 2 years he moved those boxes without knowing what was inside. He told himself it was legal. He told himself he did not need to know. He just needed the money to keep his family safe. Then one day, a box broke open during transport. And William saw what was inside. Medicine packets. But the labels were wrong. The contents were different from what was printed outside. Fake medicines. Being sent to real hospitals, given to real patients. He went to Marcus and said he wanted out. Marcus smiled. And then he showed William something. Photos, documents, records of every delivery William had ever made. Everything with William's name on it. "You are already in this," Marcus said. "There is no way out." So William stayed. Not because he wanted to, because he was trapped. Every month, he told himself he would find a way to leave. Every month, something stopped him. And then, 6 weeks ago, Marcus called him with a new job. Not boxers this time. A person. Marcus told him about Charlotte. About the report she had filed. About how she had become a problem. He told William that the problem needed to go away quietly. He handed William the syringe and told him what it was for. William looked at the syringe in his hand that day and felt the whole world go cold. "I could not do it," William said. His voice cracked. "I could never do it. She is my wife. She is the mother of my child." I took that syringe and I walked out and I never called Marcus back. Charlotte was very still. Her face was hard to read. She was listening, but her eyes were far away. "How long have you known my life was in danger?" she asked. 6 weeks. 6 weeks, William." Her voice broke on his name. 6 weeks, and you said nothing to me. I was trying to find a way to protect you without what? Without telling me someone wanted to kill me. She stood up from the chair. Her hands were shaking. "I had a right to know." "I know." He looked down. "I know that now." The kitchen was quiet for a long moment. The rain tapped against the window. Lily was still sleeping in her room above them, small and safe and unaware. Charlotte looked at the syringe on the table. "We have to go to the police," she said. "They will know before morning if we do that. These people have connections everywhere, Charlotte. Police, courts, hospitals. That is how they have been running this for so long. So what do we do?" William reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small drive. He set it on the table next to the syringe. "For the past 6 weeks, I have been collecting everything. Names, locations, records, bank transfers. Everything Marcus ever showed me and everything I could find on my own." He looked at her. "This drive has enough to bring all of them down. But I needed more time to make sure it was complete. I needed to make sure that when we went to someone, it would actually stick." Charlotte looked at the drive, then at her husband, then at the syringe. "Is it complete now?" she asked. William nodded slowly. "Then we go tonight," she said. "Right now. We take Lily and we go." William looked at her for a long moment. Something in his eyes shifted. Relief, maybe, or something close to it. The look of a man who had been alone with something terrible for too long and was finally not alone anymore. "Okay," he said. "Tonight." But before either of them could move, Charlotte's phone buzzed on the table. A message. Unknown number. 3 words, "We are watching." Charlotte and William looked at each other across that kitchen table. The syringe between them. The drive beside it. The rain outside. And somewhere out there in the dark, a group of very dangerous people who already knew their next move. The night was not over yet.
In this part, Charlotte and William have to run. Someone is watching their house. A dark car is parked outside. They cannot stay even one more minute. William takes the syringe as a evidence. They quietly pick up Lily from her room. They leave the house quietly from the back door and go out into the dark, rainy night. They find a safe place, and then William does something very important. He sends all the evidence to a journalist, everything, names, records, transfers, and presses send. There is a no going back, no.
3 words on a phone screen. That is all it took. We are watching Charlotte set the phone face down on the table. Her hand was steady, but her heart was not. William was already on his feet. He went to the window and looked out carefully from the side, just enough to see the street without being seen. A dark car, parked just across the road. Engine off, lights off. But someone was inside. He could see the faint glow of a phone screen through the windshield. "They are outside," he said quietly. Charlotte closed her eyes for 1 second, just one. Then she opened them, and her mind shifted into something sharp and clear. She was a mother. Her daughter was upstairs, and she was not going to sit at this table and wait. "I am going to get Lily," she said. "Charlotte, William, our daughter is in this house. I am getting her. Right now." He nodded. He knew better than to argue. She went upstairs quietly. She pushed open Lily's door. The little girl was on her side, one arm around her stuffed rabbit, her face completely peaceful. Charlotte stood there for just a moment, just long enough to feel the full weight of what she was fighting for. Then she gently shook her daughter awake. "Lily, baby, we are going on a little trip." Lily blinked. "Now it is nighttime. I know. It is a surprise trip. Get your shoes on for me, okay? Bring Rabbit." While Lily got ready, Charlotte moved fast. She grabbed her bag. She took the drive from the kitchen table. She looked at the syringe and then picked that up too. Evidence they would need it. William was still watching the window. He turned when she came back downstairs with Lily on her hip, half asleep and confused. "Back door," he said. They moved through the kitchen, out the back, into the small garden. The rain had slowed to a drizzle. The night air was cold. William went first. He looked left and right over the back fence. The alley behind their house was empty. They moved quickly and quietly. Lily had her face buried in Charlotte's neck, too sleepy to ask questions. Charlotte held her tight with one arm and kept moving. 3 streets away, William flagged down a passing cab. They got in. William gave an address on the other side of the city. A contact he trusted. Someone completely outside his normal life. Someone Marcus would never know about. The cab pulled away into the dark, wet streets. Charlotte looked out the back window. No headlights followed them. No dark car. Just empty roads and orange streetlights reflected in the puddles. She let herself breathe. Lily was already falling back asleep against her shoulder. Her little fingers still wrapped around Rabbit's ear. William sat beside Charlotte. He did not say anything. Neither did she. There was too much to say and not enough words yet. When they arrived, William paid the driver, and they knocked on the door of a small terraced house. A man in his 50s opened it. Tired eyes. Old jumper. He took one look at William's face and stepped aside without a single question. His name was Roy. He had worked with William's father 20 years ago. He owed William a favor, He had never been asked to repay. Tonight was the night. Roy made tea, while William set up his laptop at the kitchen table. He plugged in the drive. Charlotte sat across from him with Lily now sleeping on the sofa under a blanket in the next room. "Who do we send this to?" Charlotte asked. "Not the local police," William said. "Too easy to interfere with. I've been thinking about this for weeks." He pulled up an email address. "There is a journalist. She has been investigating pharmaceutical fraud for 3 years. She has sources inside the government. If anyone can use this safely and quickly, it is her." Charlotte looked at the screen. "Can we trust her? More than we can trust anyone else right now." Charlotte thought for a moment. Then she nodded. William started uploading the files: names, bank records, delivery logs, lab results, everything. It took 11 minutes. The longest 11 minutes of Charlotte's life. When the upload finished, William looked at her. "Once I send this, there is no going back," he said. Charlotte looked toward the other room, at Lily sleeping peacefully on Roy's old sofa. Rabbit tucked under her arm, completely safe, completely unaware. Then she looked back at William. "Send it," she said. He pressed send, and somewhere across the city, Marcus's phone was about to start ringing with news he was not prepared for. The journalist's name was Sarah Hale. She had been chasing pharmaceutical fraud stories for 3 years. She had sources in government offices and hospital boards. She had been close to something big twice before. Both times, the story disappeared before she could print it. People got quiet. Files went missing. She knew why. She just could not prove it until now. She opened William's email at midnight. She read through the first 3 files and sat up straight in her chair. By the time she reached the 5th file, she was already on the phone to her editor. "I need you to look at something right now," she said. "Tonight. This cannot wait." Her editor drove to the office in the rain. He read everything. He made 2 calls to legal. Then he looked at Sarah across the desk. "How solid is this?" he asked. "As solid as it gets," she said. "Names, transfers, lab reports, and a physical sample of the compound. When can you have a story ready?" "Give me until morning." While Sarah worked through the night, Charlotte sat in Roy's kitchen and did not sleep. William was beside her. Neither of them spoke much. There was a kind of quiet between them that was not comfortable but was honest. The quiet of 2 people who had things to work through but knew. This was not the moment. At 3 in the morning, William's phone rang. "Unknown number," he answered it. "You made a mistake." Marcus's voice, cold and flat. "You have no idea what you have started." William looked at Charlotte. His jaw was tight, but his voice came out steady. "It is already done, Marcus. Every file, every name, every transfer. It is all with a journalist right now. It will be printed by morning. You cannot stop it." Silence on the line. Then Marcus said something that made Charlotte's blood go cold, even though she could only hear. William's side of the call. She could tell by the way William's face changed. By the way his hand tightened around the phone. "What did he say?" she asked the moment William ended the call. William set the phone on the table. "He said that if the story prints, he will make sure you never see it." Charlotte did not flinch. She picked up her own phone and called Sarah Hale directly. William had given her the number earlier. Sarah answered on the 2nd ring. "I need you to move faster," Charlotte said. "Is there any way to publish something tonight?" "Anything, even online. Just enough to make it public." Sarah was quiet for a moment. "Give me 40 minutes. 38 minutes later, a story went live on the newspaper's website. Not the full piece, but enough names. The nature of the fraud. The existence of the compound. The fact that a source had come forward with evidence. Charlotte read it on her phone at Roy's kitchen table. William read it over her shoulder. It was out. It was public. It was real. Whatever Marcus was planning, he was all ready. Too late. By 5 in the morning, two things happened almost at the same time. The story had been shared over 40,000 times online, and law enforcement from a national fraud unit made contact with Sarah Hill directly. They had been building their own case for 18 months. William's files were exactly what they needed to move. At 6:30, there was a knock on Roy's front door. Two officers. Serious faces. They asked for William by name. Charlotte stood up from the table. She reached across and took William's hand for just a moment. One moment. It was not forgiveness. It was not everything being okay. It was just two people who had been through something terrible together and were still standing. "Go," she said. "Tell them everything." William nodded. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he walked to the door. Roy appeared in the kitchen doorway with a fresh cup of tea. He set it in front of Charlotte without a word. From the next room came a small, sleepy voice. "Mummy, where are we?" Charlotte closed her eyes, took one breath. Then she got up and went to her daughter. "We are somewhere safe, baby," she said. "Everything is okay." And for the first time in a very long night, she almost believed it herself.
In this part, the truth finally comes out for the whole world to see. Marcos is arrested. The network is exposed. William cooperates fully with the police and faces the result of his past. Charlotte sits with everything she has been through, and slowly she and William have a quite honest conversation. It is not easy, but it is real because something breaks and something slowly begin to heal.
Marcus was arrested at 7:40 in the morning. He was at an airport. A bag packed. A ticket booked under a different name. He had been 40 minutes away from disappearing. The officers stopped him at the gate. He did not run. He did not fight. He just looked at the officer in front of him and said nothing. The face of a man who had already calculated his next move and found that there was none. Charlotte heard the news on the phone from a detective later that morning. She was still at Roy's house. Lily was eating toast at the kitchen table and drawing a picture of rabbit with a red crayon. Charlotte stepped into the hallway to take the call. When she came back into the kitchen, her face was different, lighter, like something very heavy had been lifted from just behind her eyes. "Good news?" Roy asked. "Yes," she said. She looked at Lily. "Very good news." Over the next 2 weeks, the full story came out. Marcus was not working alone. His network ran across 4 countries. Fake medicines. Untested compounds, delivered through legitimate supply chains to real hospitals. For 9 years, the people at the top had made millions. And the people who got those medicines had paid a price that could never be measured in money. Charlotte's original report, one she had filed 18 months ago and almost forgotten, turned out to be the first real crack in the whole operation. The hospital board had buried it. 2 board members were also arrested. She sat in a room with investigators twice. She answered every question. She gave them everything she had. The syringe. Her records, everything. On the day of the second interview, the lead investigator looked at her across the table and said something she did not expect. "You know that report you filed 18 months ago? If you had not filed it, we would not have had a starting point. You did that. Before any of this, just by doing your job." Charlotte did not know what to say to that. So she just nodded. William cooperated fully with every investigation. He sat in rooms for hours. He named names. He gave dates. He answered every question without hiding anything. His lawyer told him to be careful. William told his lawyer that he was done being careful. He had been careful for 6 years, and it had nearly cost his wife her life. He was charged. He knew he would be. He accepted it without argument. One evening during those 2 weeks, William and Charlotte sat in the same room, alone for the first time since that night. Lily was asleep. The house was quiet. They sat across from each other at the same kitchen table where so much had already been said. Charlotte spoke first. "I am not going to pretend this is simple," she said. "What you did, the years of it, the secrets, I am not over that. I do not know when I will be." William nodded. He did not try to argue. "But I also know," she continued, "that when it came to the moment that really mattered, you chose us. You could have walked away. You could have let them use that syringe and told yourself you had no choice. But you did not." William looked at the table. His throat moved. "I never had a choice when it came to you," he said. "Not really." Charlotte looked at him for a long time. The man she thought she knew. The man she was still learning. The man who had made terrible decisions and then made the one decision that saved her life. She did not have a simple word for what she felt. Love and anger and grief, and something that was not quite forgiveness yet, but was maybe the beginning of it. She reached across the table. She put her hand over his for just a moment. Then she stood up and went to check on Lily. Some things take time, and that is okay. Outside the window, the street was quiet, ordinary, peaceful, the kind of street where nothing ever seems to happen. But Charlotte knew better now. She knew that the most dangerous things can happen in the most ordinary places. And she knew something else too. She was still here, and that meant everything. Marcus got 12 years. His sentence was read out in a courtroom on a Tuesday morning in October. Charlotte was not there. She did not need to be. She heard about it from her solicitor over the phone while she was sitting in her car outside Lily's school. She sat with it for a moment. 12 years. For 9 years of fake medicines. For the people harmed. For the syringe made in her name. She did not feel joy. She did not feel like celebrating. She just felt something settle. Like a door closing quietly at the end of a long corridor. She got out of the car and went to pick up her daughter. The 2 board members from her hospital received suspended sentences and were barred from working in healthcare permanently. 3 others across Europe received sentences of their own. The network was gone, completely dismantled. Sarah Hale's full investigation ran as a 6-part series in the paper and won a major journalism award that spring. Charlotte was mentioned in it. Just briefly. Her name used with permission. The administrator who filed a routine report and had no idea what she had started. She read it once. Then she folded the paper and put it in a drawer. William was sentenced to 18 months. His full cooperation and the evidence he provided were taken into account. His lawyer had done well. He served 11 months and came out quieter than he went in. Thinner, more careful with words. Like a man who had thought deeply about things and did not take anything lightly anymore. Charlotte was not waiting at the gate when he came out. That was not where they were yet, but she had kept the lines of communication open. For Lily's sake first, and then, slowly, for her own sake too. Some walls come down quickly. Others take a long time. That is not weakness. That is just how deep some hurts go. Lily turned 8 years old the spring after everything happened. Charlotte threw her a party in the back garden. Balloons and a cake with a rabbit on it because Lily had asked for that specifically. Children from school running around on the grass. The sound of all that noise and happiness filling the air. William came. He stood a little to the side. He watched Lily run and laugh and blow out her candles. His eyes were full of something that had no easy name. At one point, Lily ran up to him and grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the cake. Come on, Daddy, you have to have some. It is really good. And William looked down at his daughter and smiled. A real smile. The kind that comes from somewhere deep. Charlotte watched from across the garden. She did not look away. Some things break. Some things take a long time to put back together. Some things never go back to exactly what they were. But that does not mean they cannot become something new. Something honest. Something that has been tested and survived. Charlotte was still standing. Her daughter was why. The people who wanted her gone were gone instead. And somewhere, in the ordinary day around her, the cake, and the balloons and the sound of children playing. Life was going on. That was enough. More than enough.
Thank you so much for staying with this story all the way to the end. If Charlotte's journey moved you, if it has made you feel something real, then you already know why this story matter. Because behind every headline there is a person, and behind every person there is a story worth telling. Tell me in the comments what part of this story hit you the hardest. Please like this video if you want more story like this one. Please subscribe and hit the bell. I post a brand new story every single day. Every single day, you do not want to miss tomorrow. Take care of people you love and never ignore what your heart is trying to tell you. See you in the next story.